Powerful people can abuse their position, and the community expects them to be held accountable. That's where the KPBS investigations team comes in. If you have a tip for us, send an email to investigations@kpbs.org or message on the Signal app at 619-594-8177.
Welcome in, San Diego. It's Jade Hindman. On today's show, meet JoAnn Fields, District 80's Woman of the Year and one of San Diego's trailblazers. She joins the show as part of our AANHPI Heritage Month Profile Series. This is KPBS Midday Edition, connecting our communities through conversation. For much of her life, JoAnn Fields has been a major advocate for Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities. She's worked for every level of government and pushed for the recognition and representation of Filipino Americans in San Diego. Currently, she's the Government and Public Relations Director for the API initiative. But as you might learn in a bit, she actually wears a lot of hats. Today, we're sitting down with JoAnn as part of our AANHPI Heritage Month Profile Series. JoAnn, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Jade.
So let me ask you this. Earlier this year, you were recognized in Sacramento as District 80's Woman of the Year for your service. What does that recognition mean to you?
It was just an honor. Didn't know people are watching what I'm doing. I just do what I'm passionate about, and that's to preserve our culture and history. I am full Filipino, but my kids are African American and Filipino. So I lean on the community to teach them their culture. Because I was born here. So I have to look for information. I have to look for resources when it comes to helping our community. And I say that because of my background in government. Our government is run different here in the United States versus back in the Philippines. So asking for help usually does not happen easily unless there's a comfort zone. Mm-hmm. But I learned in the African American community, I learned in the Latino community, and it's like, we're neighbors, we're community, we're taxpayers, we contribute. I like to see equal playing ground. And so that's why I advocate the way I do. And I guess David was watching, Assemblymember David Alvarez, and he gave me that honor and distinction for Woman of the Year.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. So much deserved.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Where in San Diego did you grow up?
So primarily in the South Bay. My dad, I have the typical Filipino story. My mom, she came by herself, though, by way of nursing. She's a retired registered nurse for about 40 years. And my dad, Navy. And so we were in the South Bay. He had shipped to shore all in 16 years in San Diego. So I grew up, if we were going by San Diego districts, in District 8. When I got married, we moved to District 4 in southeastern San Diego. And so south of the 8. And we shop in National City. We go to church in the South Bay. So I grew up South Bay San Diego.
San Diego through and through. So you come from a long line of people who also, they did civic engagement work. How did they prepare you and inspire you to commit yourself to a life of service?
Sure. I didn't know. I was in training pretty much when I was born, because I was voluntold to go to association meetings. And there are many Filipino associations, and basically that's created here in the States to keep their community together. Both of my parents are from Asingan, Pangasinan, which is in the Luzon, northern part of the Philippines. And so when they immigrated here to the States, they have associations to keep them together. And so I'd go to these meetings, and they would fundraise to, under my dad's leadership, they built a bus stop in their hometown with the Filipino Women's Club that my mom was a former president. They advocate for women experiencing domestic violence, but they were also the first Filipino organization established in San Diego. And it was a group of women, spouses of military, personnel. They were in the Navy, and they kept together and as a support system. And so my mom was a part of it. So I was exposed to all kinds of things. My grandma, she would leave and work the voting polls. And where are you going, Grandma? And, she's like, I'm going to go work the polls. And she was the person that would certify the polls after, the day of voting. And again, I was exposed, but not knowing that would lead me to what I do today, advocating for our community, encouraging people to go out and vote because our voice is our vote. That's important. And we can make change, the change that we'd like to see in our community. And it's not just our community alone, but as San Diegans. I think everybody wants a safe community. Everyone wants to thrive. Everyone wants to go to a quality neighborhood school, not having to be bussed out. That's what we want. So let's do that together. But if you don't know your neighbor and there is a fear of who you are and what your motives are, then it makes it a challenge, but it doesn't have to be. So with this Filipino Friendship Festival that we have coming up July 18, that's one way of breaking down barriers and celebrating our history, not Filipino history, American history, because we were once a territory of the United States. But as adults, when are we going to learn that? Right? So we're going to learn that at the festival. They're not teaching it in schools, but we don't have to wait for policy change or curriculum to be creative because we know it to be true.
I mean, you've done so much to bring more visibility to San Diego's Filipino community. Is there an accomplishment that you're most proud of?
It's really that we are now, I'm going to say trending, because it's not just the ube that's trending or our foods, because that's what we're known for, but that we now have Mayor Tag Gloria, who's mestizo Filipino, elected into office. We had a COVID-19 task force where we worked alongside Nick Machon and Dr. Wooten during the COVID, pandemic. And whereas without the advocacy, we were invisible. And I feel like we have accomplished because now they are recognizing the Filipino community, even though census numbers will show. According to the decennial census, we are the second largest ethnic group after Latinos, even though we are thousands of miles away, oceans away. So raising that visibility amongst Asian Pacific Islanders. Oh, you're Filipino in California? Are you from the Bay or LA? No, further south. We're in San Diego. So there's so many different fronts, but I feel like we are starting to get that recognition slowly but surely in San Diego.
And so in trying to raise visibility, I mean, are there any specific issues to the Filipino American community that you think continue to fly under the radar?
Well, people don't think we have a domestic violence issue. I say that now. It's timely. Finally, after 5 years, Maya Millet's case is coming forward. But having worked with different media outlets, specifically the Filipino channel, Steve Angeles, he's like, JoAnn, now that I'm here at this presser for Maya, his first story in San Diego was on domestic violence. That same week that Larry Millet was arrested for suspicion of murder of Maya, there was another story in downtown where the estranged husband killed his wife, and she was Filipina. But no one talks about that. But now that visibility is raised up, Now we are working closely with the district attorney to show where are the resources, where do you report alongside law enforcement, which typically we don't have that type of relationship. But we do have a great relationship now through the Filipino American Law Enforcement Organization and the community relations officers in Chula Vista, in National City, in San Diego, Oceanside, and it's spreading. But because our visibility is being raised, now we can address DV, domestic violence, whereas 10 years ago, it wasn't happening.
Yeah. Why do you think domestic violence is an issue in the community?
I think there's a pressure because, one, they don't recognize divorce in the Philippines. You're Catholic, and so you stay together. That's one. But also that there are so many pressures because of economy, because of religion, because of you just deal, basically the cards that you're dealt with, and you don't seek out help. And where do you get help if you're trying to seek that? So that is something that prompted an initiative for the Filipino Resource Center. So we have a go-to place to ask for resources. It's pretty virtual. It's pretty much just calling and calling a network. Hey, where can we get someone for translation? Where can we make this report for a temporary restraining order? But we need a place. And so that's where the advocacy comes on again. So working with our county officials in all levels of government, we're starting that initiative and conversation. But we should have already had that, having been here for so many decades.
Wow. I'm listening to you talk, and you've called yourself a connector. What do you think is the key to connecting communities and building the bridges that you do?
It's all relationships, and it just so happened, I remember meeting them when my mom and dad brought me to a meeting, and, can you get me a meeting with so-and-so and so-and-so, or the Nurses Association? And so I just started making connections. Just let me look if I have a phone number. And if it's not me, it might be my mom, Vicky. More people know my mom than me. And that's why I go by my married name, Fields, because if I use my maiden name, Lagula, there's no JoAnn. You're Vicky's daughter. Oh, you're Frank's daughter. I'm like, yes. Yeah. But I'm JoAnn, So, but it's really relationship based. And, a lot of people don't like to get involved in politics, but it's not just what you know, it's who you know. You're going to call somebody you feel comfortable talking to. And I think people do feel comfortable speaking with me, and if not me, someone close to me, to ask for a connection. And I want to give that because I don't think one person or one organization can address, a huge network of issues, and it takes all of us. And you don't have to be Filipino to seek help, or you don't have to be Filipino to be connected to get resources when it comes to housing or for food or transportation. But it is that comfort zone when you have that connection. So.
And I know one of your goals is to set up a strong leadership pipeline, too. Yes. Talk about that.
So we have late bloomers, people that don't believe that they can lead, and maybe they're newly immigrated or didn't find their voice until they got older, but also developing leadership amongst our young people. We have a program called Road Scholars, and with my friends that are teachers, Jackie Magat at Mare Mesa High School, and Anthony, I can't think his last name, I'm sorry, but he teaches at Mount Miguel. But years ago, we started this program taking kids on the road to learn about our history, contributions, meet elected officials like Attorney General Rob Bonta or Mayor Todd Gloria, or just meeting people like Cynthia Bonta that helped establish the Bohol Immigrant Park in the Bay Area, that or Larry Itliong, who started the Great Grape Strike in Delano, that we have these contributions. And again, we're not waiting for the curriculum to be written. We'll take you there. We'll take you on the road so you can meet the people that are creating this history. And now they're a part of history. And when they see themselves as in a leadership role, then we hope that it'll inspire them to become leaders. And we're seeing that happen.
Wow. Looking back, what's the biggest lesson you've learned in all your time of advocacy?
It's not always easy. People seem to think that, oh, you're always on the news. You're in front of the camera. You're on the podcast. I feel blessed that we are, but I feel like we have more voices that need to have that confidence and the connections to get in a podcast or on the news to show that we are part of this community. We want to work with all San Diegans that would like to work with us, and that we have a common goal, again, for a great quality of life. And it took a while to find that voice within myself, because I would always wait for somebody else will do it, or, we have our elders that will do it, but it takes all of us. So my hope is that people will feel more confident to speak out and look for, a partner. It could be in the African American community, Latino, Anglo, Caucasian community. You all work together. It's just being available. So lesson learned is to use your voice.
All right. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you, JoAnn. I've been speaking with JoAnn Fields. She's the Government and Public Relations Director for the API initiative. JoAnn, thanks so much, and thanks for all the work that you do.
Thank you for having me, Jade.
That's our show for today. I'm your host, Jade Hindman. Thanks for tuning in to Midday Edition. Be sure to have a great day on purpose, everyone.
On the Finest podcast, we cover the people, art, and movements redefining culture in San Diego, from Blink-182 to scrappy local bands. We also have cults, a lost composer, a world record traveler, and champion birders. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.